No matter the location, from O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and I'm going to break down the Raiders 53, kind of 55-man roster for this upcoming season. So this is going to be our way too early edition. I promise you, I will do another edition of this before the season starts. So remember, it is still a 53-man roster, but teams can promote 2 players per week. That's where you're seeing this 55 number come out. But it is still a 53-man roster. The practice squad, it's increased from 10. Now you get 12, okay? So from 10 to 12, that's 2 extra players. And game day rosters increased from 46 to 48, but 8 of the 48 must be offensive line players. Make sense? Cool. Let's get into today's show. So the goal that I have on today's show, and I want everyone to do, is I'm asking for a little bit of help here, all right? So I made a bet with Tom. He's like, dude, there's no way you're going to get 50 people to share this video, so challenge accepted. So what I need you guys to do is share this video on Facebook. The way that you do that is very simple. Click the share button. It's right underneath the video. And to make it just a little bit easier for you, here's the exact instructions on what I need you to do. So if everyone does this, Tom owes me $50. So click share under the video, then click the Facebook icon, and then click post to Facebook. If y'all can do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it to stick it to Tom and to stick it to the Cowboys Report. Cool? Let's get the show going. 53-man roster projection where we're starting at the quarterback position, and I have them keeping 3. You got Dere, Carr, Marcus Mariota, and Nathan Peterman. So I think when you look at how much money they ended up paying Mariota, he's going to stay, and then Peterman. But I will say this, on the next episode, I might flirt with the idea of getting rid of Peterman on the 53-man. Let's go to the running back position now, shall we? Where obviously I'm keeping Josh, Jalen Richard, and I'm going to put Lynn Bowden there as RB3. The Raiders will also keep Alec Ingold as the fullback. So I have them keeping 4 players at running back, which means I say Rod Smith, not going to make the final 53. Booker, not going to make the final 53. And William Stanback, not going to make the final 53. One of the reasons why I have the Raiders keeping 3 running backs and a fullback is because I think they are very confident in the multiple ways that they're going to be able to go out and use Bowden because of how dynamic he was at Kentucky. The dude can pass, he can catch, he can throw. It's like Booby Miles, right? I mean, he can do it all. And he averaged 7.9 yards per carry, which led all of college football, in fact, which, yeah, I think that's pretty good. So for me, Josh Jacobs is the main guy, Jalen Richard is the pass catcher, and then Lynn Bowden is going to be the Swiss Army knife on offense. So next up is going to be the wide receivers, and honestly, this was tough. So I'm actually going to ask for a little bit of help here. If you had to cut one receiver, who would it be? Would you cut Nelson Aguilar? I want you to type NA. Would you cut Zay Jones? Or I want you to type ZJ. If you don't know what ZJ means, it's from Beer Fest. Fixed it. If you would cut Rico Gafford, I want you to type RG. And I think this is a really tough decision because you got Zay Jones, who's scheduled to make 1.4. Rico Gafford gives us a lot of speed. Nelson Aguilar could be a great asset on offense. So me, who did I end up keeping? I ended up keeping Henry Ruggs, Tyrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow, Nelson Aguilar, Brian Edwards, and Zay Jones. So the player that I was like, it was tough, but we're going to have to move on. It is Rico Gafford. Now, Rico could make the team because when I look at this quote from John, I think it's interesting in how they're really going to use the wide receivers this upcoming season. We have the receivers to spread you out. If we want to go 4 wide or 5 wide at a time, that's what we'll do. But we have the ability now, I think, with our personnel to adapt on a weekly basis to attack whoever we're playing and play aggressively. So just because Rico's not on the final 53, he might end up making the practice squad. So one of the reasons why I ended up really keeping Aguilar is because obviously the Raiders, they wanted them. They went out and signed him. The only free agent signing they made at the wide receiver position. 1 year vet min, 1.05. But I believe $900K of that is fully guaranteed. The other reason why I have Aguilar making the team, sure, he drops the ball. But he is going to be an asset on special teams, and Gruden wants him to be there for special teams. Now, some of you might be like, wow, Mitch, I'm actually kind of surprised that you ended up keeping Zay Jones. And one of the reasons why I am going to end up keeping Zay Jones for week 1 here is because the Big C has kind of made it very difficult for players to get together. But if there has been one player who has been working the most with Derek Carr, that's not a tight end, Darren Waller, it's actually been Zay Jones. So Jones has been working with Carr. I think that actually might be the difference between him making the team over Gafford. Do I think Gafford could add a lot of speed? Yes. But also the Raiders did end up trading some capital for Jones. Hopefully, he ends up playing a little bit better this year. We can get back to him being in 2018 form. If Zay probably needs to shed some pounds, and if he needs to bulk up a little bit to make the team, he could do it by going to pandasups.com, and y'all can too. So I personally am a big fan of the fat burner. I'm a big fan of the pre-workout. I mean, I make a lot of videos, and maybe y'all work a lot too. And sometimes it's really hard to motivate yourself after work to go work out. Luckily with Panda Sups, they can help you do that. So they make unbelievable pre-workout. They make unbelievable BCAAs, which kind of help, rebuild some muscle for you. So if you're trying to lose some weight, if you're trying to get back into shape, Panda Sups is going to help you to do that. And that 50% off, yeah, that's also going to help. Use code Raiders at pandasups.com. It's in the comments. It's in the description below. Let's go to the tight end position because thanks to Panda Sups, I got a tight end. And Darren Waller is the number one here on my list, plus Foster Moreau, Jason Witten. But I also see them keeping Dere Carrier. So I see them keeping 4 tight ends. What does that mean? Paul Butler, Nick Bowers, sorry, you didn't make the final cut. Now, one of the reasons why I am going to end up keeping Dere Carrier on this roster is because of this quote here by Gruden on the Raiders' offensive plans. We want to use 3 tight ends at a time. No disrespect to the receivers, but we're going to put 3 tight ends out there. Waller, Jason Witten, we're going to run it and play action. So if you're going to run a 3 tight end set, if you need to be able to have that in your arsenal, you kind of need to have another tight end just in case. And I think Carrier, just in case Waller, Moreau, or Witten go down, you're going to be able to put them in and still be able to run 3 tight end sets. Now, if all 3 of these guys are on the field, we are going to have, I think, a pretty different and more dynamic offense. Is Jason Witten old? Yes. But he is still able to get it done. So when you have Waller, when you have Foster, when you have Witten, I'll tell you what, there's not too many tight end rooms that are better than that. I would say the only tight end room that I can guarantee is better than the Raiders is probably the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is if Rob Gronkowski does stay fully healthy. So that's pretty interesting. All right, let's move on now to the next position, offensive line. But before I do that, I got a picture for everyone. So I want you to play a game with me, all right? We're going to get creepy here. I'm going to do my Saul voice. You want to play a game? Caption this photo. So what I want you to do is go down to the comment section, and here's the picture. I want you to caption this photo. For me, my word is car insurance. And I'm going to tell you who I think is going to make the final 3-man roster on the offensive line. Here's my projected offensive line depth chart. And honestly, this was probably the most difficult out of all the positions because our starting 5 is solid. I got Colton Miller, you got Incognito, Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown. Like, that's easy. But left tackle Brandon Parker, he's not very good, but we do need to have at least some tackles. Sharp, also, he's okay. But John Simpson, a player that we ended up drafting in round 4, and Denzel Good is a player that I know that they like, who they committed $2.5 million to this season. I think that they don't go with the center, and they did it a lot last year because of how confident they were in Rodney Hudson. But we have a crap ton of guards, and I do expect a lot of guards to make the practice squad. So now we go from offensive line. Let's go to the other side of the football, the defensive line, where we have Cleveland Ferrell, Malik Collins, Mo Hurst, and Max Crosby. Again, easy. Then you insert Carl Nassib, another easy pick. Jonathan Hankins, easy. P.J. Hall, a little tougher. Arden Key, also a little bit tougher. The reason why I ended up going with Arden Key over Valaga is for the simple reason of upside, right? Key's got better upside than Valaga, and he's got better upside than Aruna. So when you look at what he did in 2018, and you look at what he did in 2019, honestly, Key played pretty well in 2019 when he was actually on the field. Now, he got banged up a little bit. He's entering year 3. If the Raiders do end up cutting him, it costs $413K. I'm hoping that he plays well. I know he has the tools too, so for me, I ended up keeping Arden Key. Now, one of the other players that I think I really struggled over the debate was P.J. Hall or Daniel Ross. So maybe y'all can help me out here a little bit. If you would keep a defensive tackle, would you rather keep P.J. Hall, type P.J., or would you keep Daniel Ross? I want you to type DR. So the reason why I ended up keeping P.J. Hall is because he's entering year 3. He was the 39th best defensive tackle according to PFF last year. And I actually think he, does he need to play better? Of course. But I do think he is at least a little bit underappreciated. Now, it's tough because the Raiders signed Daniel Ross in free agency. I know Ross has a connection with new defensive line coach Rod Marinelli. So make it a little bit easier for me, P.J. Hall or Daniel Ross. Probably my favorite player on the defensive line is Max Crosby. And if you need a new Max Crosby jersey, go give me a follow on Instagram. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365, and I'm going to be doing a giveaway on June 12th at during my live show. And the way that you enter is by giving me a follow. Here's some people who have recently followed me on IG. So shout out to Raider Fan for Life, J. Centers, and Coach D416. If you want to get a shout out on the Raiders Report, if you're trying to get some Instagram clout, go ahead and give me a follow. I'm going to start giving more shout-outs the entire month of June. All right, let's go to the linebacker position now, where I got Corey Littleton, Nick Kwiatkowski, Nicholas Morrow, Tanner Muse, and Markel Lee. So I'm keeping 5. The reason why I have Morrow and Lee at strong side linebacker is because one of the quotes that Gruden had was he was saying if they use Muse, they're going to be able to use Muse also at weak side linebacker because then they can also put Corey Littleton over at strong side linebacker. They have a lot of confidence, obviously, in Kwiatkowski, but for me, I see this Raiders team keeping 5 linebackers. And if you guys need to get into shape, all right, what I want you to do is this. Listen up. I love Panda Sups. They're a great company. I talk a lot about getting into shape and losing weight. Also, a very important thing to doing those things is taking care of your body. They also have sleep aids, and BCAAs kind of help rebuild your muscle. You can go ahead, take advantage of this deal. 50% off by using code Raiders at pandasups.com. Let's go to the defensive back position now because I'm having them keep 11 players, right? So you got Trayvon Mullen, Joyner, Randall, Abram, Prince, and Mukamara. Those are my starters. But then you have Isaiah Johnson, Amik Robertson, Eric Harris, Jeff Heath, and then I have them keeping Damon Arnett and Nevin Lawson. So who are some players that honestly just missed the cut for me for the defensive back? It was tough for me to cut Levitt. He was a fun player last season. I interviewed him. I really like what he is able to bring, especially to special teams. So if he does end up making the team, it will, I think, be a little bit more for special teams. Keyshawn Nixon, a player that I know has been working his tail off. DJ Killings adds a little bit more depth at corner. And then 2 UDFAs. Javen White out of UNLV is very versatile, and I know the Raiders kind of like him. You could look at him being a lesser version of a Tanner Muse. And then Madre Harper. Madre Harper's another player that I like a lot who was projected to go in round 6 of the NFL draft. Brings a lot of raw natural skills, but I'm a little bit worried with the Big C that he's not going to be able to have enough time to show coaches what he can do. So here are some players that just missed the cut. So here are some projected now special teams players where I have Daniel CARLSON making it. I haven't beaten out Dominic Eberle, and again, I think it's the Raiders are going to trust their gut. They're going to go with what they know, and that's kind of how I ended up making that decision. They're going to keep A.J. Cole at punter, and then Trent Sieg, he's going to end up beating Liam McCullough, who is our current UDFA snapper out of Ohio State. But, you know, the CARLSON one was tough because if CARLSON does what he did in 2019, I actually think Dominic's going to be able to beat him out. But if we get the 2018 version of CARLSON, who was 18 of 19 for field goals, who was actually pretty solid all around in this game when he came over to the Raiders, I do think that we keep CARLSON. However, Dominic can kick it. And he never missed an extra point in college, and I know he has confidence, and if you guys are like, can he make a long kick? Hey, he can do it. He's got him on his Instagram. So let me know if you had to keep a kicker. 1 for CARLSON or type 2 for Eberle. So that was my 53-man roster projection. So remember, it is a 53-man roster projection. You're going to be able to elevate 2 people from the practice squad. That's where you're getting 55 from. So let me know in the comments. Type A, B, C, D, or F. I want you to grade, okay? Grade how I did. Let me know if you want suggestions, if you want me to do something better. You can hit me up on Instagram. I am also there on Twitter. So what would you guys give me? I'm curious. Come on, let's get some votes in here. What would you give me my grade? I'm getting some B's here in the studio. I see Rustin Long's typing A. Chris Smith says B. My opinion says B. I'm seeing B's, A's. Heck, I even got a laugh out loud. So if you guys would make anything different, changes, go ahead and do it in the comment section. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.